It's always a fun time when our next guest joins us from the African American Heritage Club, Annie McCary. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
I think the last time we had you in here, maybe a couple times before, was at Delphonics, and those guys, they were a lot of fun. But we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys have going on in May. But first, African American Heritage Club, for folks who don't know what you do and what it's all about, tell us a little bit about the background.
Okay, thank you. So the African American Heritage Club is a social club. We don't do politics. We basically social events. It was started, actually, this year will be our 10-year anniversary. It was started by Dr. Fran Williams, who's a psychologist. She moved here and she saw all the club activities going on, and she just wanted a club that identified with her, that she could really identify with. So she created the African American Heritage Club here in Laguna Woods for the purpose of recognizing and celebrating African American heritage in the village.
And do you find that the folks who come around from here, they have their own kind of stories in terms of their heritage? Some who grew up maybe in the South, right here in California or back east, and they're just kind of different stories from different parts of the world?
Absolutely, and that's what makes the club so unique. You know, we all have different backgrounds for where we came from, but we have this common theme, is that we have a heritage. And the heritage includes the way we dress, the way we eat, the way we dance. All of that contributes to our heritage, not so much the location where we came from. So when we get people together talking about those, how they grew up, it's just really an amazing time.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of fun and an opportunity really to also learn about, like, how did you guys did this different, maybe in South Carolina than we did in New York, and those kinds of things, right? And the kind of the variety of different ways that people grow up and kind of learned about their heritage.
Absolutely, and one of the nice things about the club, the way it is right now, is we invite anyone to come to our club meetings to celebrate with our heritage and hear, some of the amazing stories of, what African Americans have contributed to the United States. So.
Right, in terms of education, science, and inventions and those kinds of things, right? There's a whole world that what didn't always make the history books, kind of thing.
Exactly, and we shine a little bit of light on that, and we find that it's been very rewarding for people who come to our club meetings. It's been inspiring for people to actually join, even if they're not African American, because we celebrate the heritage, not our skin color.
What do you think are some of the stories that just aren't being told well enough or don't go out there enough? Do you ever think to yourself, why isn't this story out there?
Well, so ask me that question again, because I have a lot of answers for that.
We'll do that a number of times.
Yes.
So yeah, I think there's that kind of feeling, there's sense that every time you hear a story or something's brought to light, maybe a movie, documentary, a new book, in the African American culture, a lot of people go, I never knew that. I never heard of that. How could that, like Hidden Figures, the movie, for instance.
Yes.
Like, I would never have known that story. I didn't know the background of that, but then that comes out, and then you go, wow, wait a minute. There's these roles that were played that were just unsung heroes of our times.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what a lot of what we do in the club. And when we highlight some of these figures, people really, really are motivated and excited because they didn't know. And because most of our history was left out of the history books. The inventions, like, the person who invented the blood transfusion, the person who invented the ironing board, the person who invented the traffic signal, all of those are left out of the history books when history was being taught in the schools. And so you can go do an internet search and find out about them, but we highlight those at our club meetings.
Yeah, so it's an interesting, educational, you learn something, and of course the social part of it too is a fun time. For this month, you guys are going to be celebrating mothers and fathers at your next meeting, right?
Yes, and we kind of combined it to make it, mother, father, heroes. Any hero, any person that has been significant or had an influence on your life, we want to honor them and celebrate them.
I think everybody has that person in their life, right? That maybe unsung hero, a teacher, a parent, another relative who stepped in or was there for them at a time,
Yes.
and we have along those journeys.
Yeah.
Do you remember any certain times in terms of your parents where like they were there for me when I
Absolutely. And I'm very fortunate in that my parents were always there for me. I didn't always agree with how they showed up for me.
Well, who kid does? What kid does? Come on.
Right. Yeah. But I can see the value in that now, and I can appreciate my parents as being my role models and my heroes.
Yeah, my fiance tells a story about how she was went to college, she was partying the whole thing, and they said, "You are now cut off from funds and all. You don't have money because all you're doing is spending on this." And she said she was so mad at them at the time, but it couldn't have been a better thing that they did for her. Just absolutely cut her off, and she had to get herself together and get back to school and get into class.
Yes.
And those things where you think to yourself, oh, at the time, oh no, they're ruining my life. Or they've stepped in and maybe made a big difference for you.
Yeah, I remember one instance when my son was preparing to leave home, and we had this talk, and I said to him, Eric, do you know you're responsible for your own toothpaste now, your own toilet paper now? So these kinds of things that, as a youngster, as a youth, we don't really appreciate what our role models and our parents do for us.
Right, all the little things, right? So when they come home from a visit from college and they start, all of a sudden all the toilet paper and then toothpaste is gone. They bring it back. Yeah. So you guys are going to be celebrating moms and dads, telling some of those stories at your next meeting. Looking a little bit ahead to Juneteenth. I know that's a big celebration for you guys, and you're going to come back and talk more about that, but give us a little bit of a preview of what you're thinking about.
Well, first of all, it's our 4th annual celebration, and we're going to be highlighting women who've changed history, African American women. And one of the women that we're going to be honoring is Miss Opal Lee, and she's known as the grandmother of Juneteenth. She's the one that collected all the signatures to get President Biden to sign it off as a holiday. So we're going to be highlighting her. We're going to be presenting an Opal Lee Award to someone who has done amazing work and has not been recognized, or maybe people don't know about. So again, women who changed history.
Now talk a little bit about what Juneteenth actually is, because it is one of our newest of holidays, but a lot of people don't really know the history of it. It comes along with emancipation, but not exactly on the day of emancipation.
Like 200 years after emancipation. So basically, Juneteenth is one of those words that June, the month of June, and then the 10th, Juneteenth. So it's a combination of words that celebrate when the people in Galveston, Texas finally learned 200 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. That's when they learned that they were actually free.
Not 200 years after, but wasn't it months after? Wait a minute. It was because the word of the emancipation it was a number of years back, but the word of emancipation got to Texas.
It got to Texas.
Yeah, yes.
So that's when they 200 years after that is when the word, after Emancipation Proclamation, that's when the word got to Texas, that they were free.
Okay, yeah, so it's an interesting thing. And nobody really knows the date. That's why we call it Juneteenth-ish.
Yeah, I think it was the 13th.
Okay.
June 15th, 13th, 15th. So it's
some TH one in there.
Some of those T's.
So what's it like for you to kind of run this organization and kind of, and kind of see how it's changed and evolved and grown over the years?
It's been really, really amazing. It's been very heartwarming to be accepted into the community, first of all, and to be able to share the richness of our diversity and the richness of our culture, and to be able to navigate throughout this community with ease and peace of mind, and to be able to highlight just basically who we are and how we contribute to the tapestry of this community. So it's an amazing experience for me.
Well, Annie McCary, always good to have you here. We'll welcome you back next month. We'll talk more about Juneteenth and what you guys have planned from the African American Heritage Club. Thank you very much.
My honor. Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we'll be previewing the weekend movies. Stay with us.